presented with an opportunity to reinvent the franchise. We weren't going to just make a remake or recycle a story that's been out in the theaters and on TV a million times. This was an opportunity for a different take on the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre movement. It gave us the opportunity to go right to the roots and tell a story that had not been told before within the franchise.
The idea of being able to like get in on the ground level and sort of write the new backstory and just be adjacent to the original film and have everything I do dovetail into what the original did was just, you know, super exciting. Just to think about, you know, a movie I saw when I was like, you know, 10 years old, that I could now be the dude who kind of writes his story was just super exciting to do.
When we first received the script, of course, it's not every day that you have the opportunity to see, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface on the front page. So I think that was the first excitement and saying like, wow, really? A new one? Cool.
It was very exciting to do a movie, an American movie during the 50s and the 60s. And for us, we are French and we are fascinated by American way of life since we are young. And so it was a great opportunity to us to bring our vision, if I can say like that, to an American myth and to film the whole America. I think it's more original and powerful to go back to the roots of the myth and not to continue the myth.
You take one of mine, and I'll take all yours, Verna.
It's been cool. I mean, I've worked with two directors before a few times, and it's interesting because, you know, you'll get a rhythm with one, and then you know, the other one will be looking at the frame and the camera and the lighting, and you know, there's so many details to the makeup, to the special effects makeup, but they really, I think, do a great balance of coordinating between them. They're obviously best friends, they're partners, they're the same age, they've had babies at the same time. So these two know each other better than they probably know themselves. You know, I mean, they're a unit.
You let those boys go this instant.
Don't count on it, Verna.
You see them do something wrong?
When they told me they wanted to do something that was a cross between Terrence Malick, like Badlands, and Virgin Suicides, I thought, I'm there. Because what I love is this stuff that's happening with people pushing a genre as far as they can push it, and it's exciting to me.
I felt like with these directors, they were going to definitely bring a visceral storytelling aspect as well as deliver those iconic, really scary moments, you know, because the horror fans are smart.
The casting process, I think, was a real challenge. You can't imagine how it can be an offense for a lot of fans to find a new Leatherface, because in our fans' minds, Leatherface is forever Gunnar Hansen, and it's very difficult to find him a successor. So, and the double challenge was to find a young Leatherface, not only a child, but a teenage version of Leatherface.
I kind of read it as like Stand By Me meets The Lost Boys meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's kind of like, first and foremost, a story about, I feel like, lost kids, and that's the main focus. You know, one of these kids turns out to be Leatherface, and it gives you a real explanation of why these kids end up the way they do, and why Leatherface eventually ends up the way that he does.
We nailed it with these actors and actresses. I mean, they're wonderful young kids. They have the energy, and they are, wow, when it comes to acting, they are so talented. They can do an English accent, which is their native accent, and then they just switch it right on and they're Texan. But more importantly, they really understood not only their own characters, but the story and how the story develops and how that affects their own character.
I wish this was just normal. You know, I wish I was somebody else. When I formulate a character, you know, I go in with pretty hard opinions. And then the proving ground is when you come and meet the producers and the directors and see what their opinions are. And I was really lucky with this. I got here, and right down from the character's haircut to the way he walks, it was like we were totally on the same page. We had the same references. Like my close friend in it, a character called Bud, I always saw the relationship as like Lenny and George from Mice and Men, and and that was Julian and Alex's first reference for the both of us, and so that's awesome, like prep and then finally coming together with everyone. That excites me shooting-wise.
Jackson, you're gonna get out of here someday. What makes this story quite unique to other horror movies is that it's very character-driven. It's all about the characters. It's mainly about these kids who are lost, and it kind of follows their trail, and then at the end you realise that one of them is actually the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But it's not just focused on that. It's more about story, and there's love, there's relationships, there's family, there's all these different themes that come into it.
It's more of a journey, it's got a story to it, it's an adventure, there's a bit of mystery, you really empathise with every single character. There's no two dimensions about it, there's three.
Ak, where are you at? The horror element it's subtle throughout, and it's actually really plot driven. And I think for me that's what really made me go, yeah, I'd love to do a project like this, because the dialogue is great. It's written well. It's not like gory blood splash in your face. It's like, it's subtle, and I think that's so much harder to watch. That's more frightening to me, you know, and I went, that's a horror film. I think that's not like anything I think I've seen before.
Did you just fuck Harbin? You out of your mind?
You forget what these fucking kids did at the diner? Called justice, boy.
I thought it was exciting to take this American story and put it in the hands of these really creative, new wave French film directors.
They are so flaming talented. It's indescribable, the amount of talent that they possess, the way they manage to look after everybody like sort of parents, but also direct an amazing movie and get the shots lined up right, and they're just brilliant.
They're so at one with each other. I've never seen any disagreement or anything like that. Like, they're always on it. They have the same vision. They're really good at talking in a way that an actor can understand.
I watched their first movie, Inside, which deeply disturbed me. No, they're sick. No, they're great, man. Julian and Alex, they're cool, you know. They've got this really nice balance of shooting to make it visually pretty, but they're also, on the other hand, making sure the actors are cool and getting a good dramatic performance, because I feel like sometimes it can sway too much one way.
I had a feeling they were very creative, very autonomous, and it's been true. They collaborate, they are very clear about what they want, they know what their day is going to be, but they also have a lot of flexibility. And what's great is we still make our days, so we still end on time, and yet we've been able to change things, be open to things, let something go, add something here.
They've let me be free to play Hartman the way I saw him in the script, trying to create a human side to this madman cop that I play.
Julian and Alex had the absolute perfect vision for the film. They were energetic. They were, aside from being nice guys, and they had this edge to their storytelling.
We wanted the movie to be really beautiful, but realistic in a way, you know. And so with our production designer, Alain Benet, we worked as well in this direction, and I think you have a glimpse of it here. And when we watched the dailies, of the first dailies, we were really reassured because it's dirty in a way, in a good way. This was really important for the believable aspect of the story.
Before shooting, I was very excited about the Sawyer farm. The interior scene, because it's a mythic set. It's a real house that have been shot for many times, but we cannot see it very well. It's always a little bit hidden or dark on everything. So it was really impressive to get into this process, and also to be a link with the other guys that have been shooting this kind of set.
The challenge with doing the fake chainsaw, it's very important, because the chainsaw is like an actor, you know. We create two different chainsaws, a rubber one and the chainsaw, we call that the electric one. If you do a safe chainsaw, the actors feel better, play better, because they are not afraid of this chainsaw.
The real one, when you start the real one, nobody can stay because it's very frightening. Everybody are afraid about this real chainsaw. If you don't have a fake one, I don't know if you do a lot of things. Perhaps we have to create that in CG, but the challenge is to do less CG as possible. Because why? Because it's very simple. Because in the beginning, when the first chainsaw, when the director shoot the first chainsaw, nobody used CG. Return to classic, return to basics for us. That is the challenge.
The one that I got to work with, and it was so much fun, was this life-size dummy of Christopher, who plays Dr. Lang.
Dr. Lang, the head here, the head you have to punch on the window. We have a lot of different techniques. You have to create a realistic head. You have to create the mechanism inside the head. You have to put some real hair on the head.
It moved just like and I got to smash it into a window quite violently, quite a lot of times, and there's blood pouring out, and it moves just like a human being, and it's like, wow, this is crazy.
Everybody can say if it's real or not real. For that, it's a very difficult effect to do.
It's kind of villain versus villain in the story. There's not a clear-cut hero. You feel sorry for these kids, but they are definitely dangerous and they kill people. And Hartman is a sheriff and a lawman, but he also is clearly outside of the law. So it's just kind of, a bunch of bad, crazy people slamming into each other.
I love a character that has a lot of colors in a movie like this, because this is designed for a big audience. You want to give them the thrill, and you want people to go, holy crap, when Hartman does do some crazy stuff in this, you realize this guy's losing his mind, And so for me, I thought I could definitely, hit those notes, and it's been, that's what I think I liked about the script. And then when I talked to the guys, I told them how I saw it. They were like, right on, you're right in there with what we want. We want to play it real. We want to really have character-based stuff, and then the makeup and all the other stuff will come into play and will deliver the thrill.
Leatherface as a prequel explores many of the psychological implications which are later explained and evolve in even some of the other Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. And it gives the audience a real understanding and rooting of the problem and of the characters and how Leatherface came to be.